Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video, and there is a lot to talk about in this news roundup related to World of Warcraft. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft so you don't miss out and you can stay ahead of the competition, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now, with patch 11.1.5, there's been a lot of scrutiny against a broad amount of sectors in World of Warcraft, whether it was PvE or PvP. But I think for PvPers, the one that has now finally seen some resolution is that they were going to be buffing up item level from PvE gear, which meant that PvP gear was going to become inferior and PvPers were going to need to raid. Blizzard has now given their official response to this issue, and they have stated that basically PvP gear is going to be getting a turbo boost alongside all of the other gear as well, so that you will not need to PvE in order to get the highest item level for PvP. So we can all let that rest, we can all let that settle, and we can all live a little bit more in peace with that regard, because that would have definitely been cataclysmic, I think, towards the participation of PvP, which at the moment is obviously not doing so hot. And speaking of PvP participation, I think that this is an important subject to discuss, because a lot of players are bringing up their reasons as to why PvP participation may be low at this time. And I think it goes almost without saying for anybody that's been involved with the PvP community or watching content creators that it's related to MMR, right? It's related to not being able to hit your previous season highs as early as you did in the next season. And that's because the MMR is decided by the amount of people playing the game, which innately is going to decline season to season in an expansion, which means it gets increasingly more difficult to get the PvP prestigious rewards. And it's just a system that doesn't make sense. It would be like designing a gym where the most amount of muscle is built by the number of people in the gym. It doesn't make sense season to season in a vacuum of one season. It is a great system. It's just going to artificially inflate your MMR week to week. You're slowly going to see progress, but as soon as that glass ceiling is shattered when we're introduced into the next season, which may likely have less players than the first one, depending on if it was the first season of an expansion or not, then suddenly you're never able to get back to your previous highs, and you're never able to really achieve your rewards. So MMR seriously needs to be looked at, and they have shown posts moving forward that they are going to be looking at the reward structures for systems in the game. I don't know if this means PvP MMR. It's very vague. I'm really hoping that it is, because I think this is one of the major contributing factors to a decline season to season throughout an expansion. It's just like if you ended the season one, maybe you were 2200. Now in season 2, you can barely get 1800 and you're 400 rating lower than you were at the end of the last season. This is going to be a demoralizing experience. You're going to think that this is just the end. Like, what's the point? It'd be like going to the gym, you bench pressed 225 pounds, and then you go back in the next season of the gym and you can only bench press 135 pounds. It's going to be incredibly demoralizing. I don't know how they could possibly not acknowledge how demoralizing that is if you participate in that system and you see that and you don't understand it. Like, for me, as someone who understands it, I don't get upset by it, because I understand how it works, and I track my progress based on my rankings overall. Like, am I top 50 druid? Am I top 25 druid? Am I top 10 druid? That's always going to remain the same no matter what, depending on the player base. But that's not tracked for the main populace of the game that's below 2400 rating. All you can see is your rating, and it's leading to declines. Not to mention the number of spots available for specific titles, like rank 1 titles, which are dictated by player population. This type of stuff needs to be looked at. I think there should be a baseline number of spots available regardless of participation on the season, and then maybe going a step beyond that is to increase spots based on participation by a small amount. But there needs to be a significant base of available titles to be able to go after. Otherwise, it just feels really self-defeating, and there's just no point in the progress. And this is completely interdependent of class balance, right? This is nothing to do with that. This is just structural dopamine reward systems that, when they are impaired like this, is going to lead to a decline in participation. They need to be addressed, and hopefully that is going to be the case with the reward restructuring that they've posted in an upcoming patch, because if it's not, then things are going to get worse before they get better. This is something that needs to be remedied. It's been a consistent complaint throughout multiple expansions. It's not a band-aid thing where you inject a little bit of extra MMR in a season that has less participation. This is something that fundamentally from the baseboards needs to be ripped out, replaced, and renewed. But that then brings us into our final piece of news, which is related to player housing, which is going to be the major feature of the next expansion. And this post was definitely a very big one, a very important one for what's going on with the systems, but also how they're going to be incorporating old content back into the game. So Blizzard states here, knowing what tools you have to decorate your home is one thing, but knowing how and where to get your decor is another. Step into our showroom as we open our catalog on housing rewards and share more information about what you can expect when seeking to outfit your Azeroth home in style. Welcome home, adventurers. At the end of our previous article, we asked a few questions regarding the source of decorations and how professions fit in. Today, we're going to answer those questions, talk through our philosophies for housing rewards, and provide a few more details on the decoration economy. Before starting, we wanted to state our usual disclaimer. This is still a work in progress, and names and details may change between now and launch, but this is directionally where we are aiming. Setting up our guiding principles. We began our discussion by drafting a few guiding principles to inform our design. Progressive journey. Similar to our housing pillar of long-lasting journey, players should expect the collection of decor to be just that, a journey. The collection of the perfect room and house is something to strive towards, not run to a vendor and complete on day one. Furthermore, I'm a bit concerned that that just means they're going to time gate it. Because we've seen this increasingly with a lot of reward structures where it's just you can get the helmet this week and then you just can't get the next one until the next week. Is this going to be a time gated thing? Is it going to be a grind related thing? Is that what's going to be delaying it? I'm kind of probably leaning more on the time gating thing, because they know if you completed your whole collection, then there's nothing to go for. You're probably going to stop engaging with the system, but it's probably going to be more time gated. Is that how I would expect it? Maybe I'll be totally wrong about this. Furthermore, this journey should be engaging and possible for most players, regardless of how quote-unquote hardcore or not they may be. So I really want it casual friendly. Put another way, getting any single piece of decor should eventually be possible, but getting everything should be incredibly difficult. So it's going to be extremely tedious and time gated, and maybe RNG oriented as well. Something like farming an old legacy mount or an old legacy transmog. Anyone can do that. You don't need to be a hardcore player, but based on RNG, you may never get it, or it may take you forever to get to that point. So it's definitely, they're leaning towards the casual side of this, and that it's going to take a really long time to get everything. Which, in some sense, it's like, yeah, okay, it's going to be a journey. I think they're trying to lean into that classic WoW vibe in that sense. But if you're just missing that one chair for your house to complete the whole look, and it's like RNG drop or this time gated thing where you have to wait 2 months and your house is just like, man, I just really wish could get that chair right now. I think that's going to be irritating. I understand not wanting to like gatekeep the housing transmogs, maybe behind like mythic rating or high rated PvP or something like that. I think like maybe putting those rewards towards more of a beginner entry level, like, raid finder, or just getting into normal mode, or, completing a few rated PvP matches or something like that. A more participation oriented way to get people to try different content as opposed to like beating them down would be fair, but I'm a bit concerned with this post. Core gameplay with variations. Similarly, we want to reward decor through a wide variety of our core gameplay in World of Warcraft. We don't want decor to come from only housing specific activities, though some will, but instead meet you where you are, however you choose to enjoy the game, whether that's solo questing, crafting decor with professions, and using the auction house, running dungeons with your friends, or raiding with your guild. Now, they don't say PvP at all. I don't know if that they're just trying to not upset anybody in this community that they're expecting that would likely be like very anti-PvP. There's definitely a lot of people in the WoW community that are, if they see the word PvP, like, ugh. So maybe they purposely left that word out here. But it does seem interesting that they're including professions. There's going to be new profession levels of this. But I feel like they're going to include PvP somehow. And if not, like, I was really hoping there was going to be some like gladiator trophies you could get to put up with like the achievements, cutting edge achievement type of stuff. I was kind of hoping that would be there to kind of just show off his trophies, even if it was like not, there's some feats of strength that are not included in the general achievement package. So if you're a completionist, you don't have to care as much if you get it. But for the people who get those special feats, they can have a place to display their trophies. Is kind of what I'm hoping they'll do with the housing decor, is that they'll separate some decor into not being included with the overall achievements, so completionists can get through and collect all of this stuff. But then, players that are pursuing those types of trophies are going to have something to show for it in the house. Otherwise, everyone's house being this generic mismatch of just, I farmed a lot and that's the only types of decor that are in the house. I just feel like that's not as personalized as it could be if there were at least some trophy elements. And there's got to be a way to implement it that doesn't upset the people who want to be completionists as well, similar to the achievement system. Reverence for the past. Some of you have been playing for 20 years and we want that time to feel worthwhile. Your past adventures and time spent in Azeroth means your collection will have a leg up and you won't start from square one when you first purchase a house. Okay, what does that mean? Like, am I just getting a bigger house because I played for every expansion or something? It's about the journey, not the decoration. The progressive journey principle means that the majority of decor types, example, chair, bed, shelf, etc., are considered commodities and are readily available from vendors, other players via the auction house, questing, and so on. If you want a wooden chair, it's very easy and inexpensive to acquire. So you can just get the baseline everything really fast, but if you want to get more than that, you're going to be having to do some stuff. Next, the investment decor, which are generally more niche items in either theming, looks, or appeal, which require more time and or cost investment. Examples could be sparking fountain with particle effects or magical books that flap about on their own. Lastly, there are what we think of as trophies. Okay, so they are going to mention this. These are things that require skillful play, cooperation with other players, and or larger time commitments. Think along the lines of Mythic Plus and raid rewards. Again, no mention of PvP, or long-term achievements. Unless this is it, long-term achievement. They just don't say the PvP word. It's Voldemort in player housing. They're going to get mad. Don't say PvP. If you're looking to mount Onyxia's head on your wall, you will have to defeat her and take it. Fortunately, that's very easy to do now. You don't need a lot of dots to do it anymore. One of the powerful aspects of decoration is that since it's cosmetic by nature, placing hard to acquire things throughout the game gives players reach goals that don't hamper their character development, and they're free to pursue or not, just like mounts and transmogs. That said, it should be easily possible to kit out your home on day one to strike the vibe you're looking for without too much effort. Your decor journey should start out awesome and continue to be that all along the way. So you're going to be able to get the full functionality of the house, it seems, right away. But if you want a specific thing or you want to get all the collectibles, that's going to take longer. So I think their goal is trying to like satisfy people who want the customization element of building a house like The Sims, but then also satisfy the completionists and the grinders who want something to work towards moving into the future at the same time. It can be very difficult to, satisfy multiple audiences like that. I think that it's a nice goal in theory. I'm going to have to wait and see it play out to see if it's actually achievable, though, in practice. Variety is the spice of life. When we first were drafting this article, there was a line that read, "Where can I get decor?" Yes, while pithy, it's not far from the truth either when it comes to our second principle of core gameplay with variation. Decor should come from everywhere and everything. All right, there you go. PvP, we're in there. We're everywhere, and we are everything. We're somewhere in there. We're just not going to be specifically outlined. We want you to find decor rewards in all sorts of gameplay, not just a single avenue that you feel forced to interact with over and over. For example, while a specific jade inlaid bookshelf might come from a particular quest in Pandaria, other bookshelves could come from vendors, professions, or other varied forms of content. So they're going to duplicate the item and let you choose what you want to do. So if you're somebody who likes going and doing the old quests, you're trying to get Lore Master, then maybe you can get some player housing items along with it. But if you don't like doing the old quests and old content, you don't care about Lore Master, you can go do something else. Kind of wait and see if they're going to recolor those items or not. Thanks, past self. Finally, they got a picture of Onyxia's head here. The principle of reverence for the past encapsulates a few things. All the time spent in Azeroth is worth something. We are leveraging legacy reputations, professions, and more. If you've achieved something in the past, we want to embrace that time spent. If you've raised your reputation to Exalted with someone, you'll be able to purchase their goods right away. If you completed an achievement 10 years ago, that rewards a new piece of decor today. You'll be granted that piece of decor on login. So you guys are gonna get that's gonna crash the servers, bro. That's gonna crash the server. You're gonna log in and get 10 trillion achievements popping up on your screen depending how old you're. That is gonna crash the server. It's cool, but that's going to crash the server. Legacy decor should be well integrated into the appropriate existing content and not feel crowbarred in. For example, using the local systems and currencies of a piece of related content, such as Mechagon's Junkyard Tinkering, when it makes sense and as it's available. They really want you going back into all the old zones. I like trying to include that old world content, breathe some life into those zones, get players into the world, right? All those empty vacuums of space makes a lot of sense. I've always wanted them to, throw a little couple PvP world quests, or maybe just a couple world quests even into the old zones when they make sense. They've done that in some expansions, right? With Battle for Azeroth, where we went back to the Arathi Highlands, we went back to Darkshore temporarily, but they sprinkle those in a little bit, breathe a little bit of life to some of the old zones that don't have a lot of action going on in them, and get some kind of gameplay going on with them could be good. So this is a way of doing that. We're not going to have the decor equivalent of transmog runs. Okay, so it's not going to be that easy, as I was saying earlier, I guess. We're still working through what this means in practice. Is it only available during time walking? Is there something more deterministic we can do? But the thought of someone farming a mount for years across multiple characters every week, finally earning it, and then being told, well, time to go back and grind for the couch is rough. We'd like to avoid this. Oh, you got Ashes of Alar? Well, you better kill Kael'thas again if you want his floating phoenix spheres in your home next. Enjoy running the Tempest Keep 10 billion more times. So it seems like they're maybe likely a little bit against the RNG element of it. So I wonder if they'll be more hammered in on the time gating, like, hey, you can get this book guaranteed after this amount of time. Which would fall in the structure as far as like keeping recurring subscribers, right? Without having to annoy you as to whether or not you're actually ever going to get the item. At least you will know that you will get it. Harkening again back to the long-lasting journey pillar, we're going to continue fleshing out decor from past expansions in future patches, and they will be earnable via the appropriate content of their expansion. One thing we'd like to give you a heads up about here is that we intend to offer decor rewards for past expansion meta achievements. A World Awoken, Back from Beyond, and a Farewell to Arms are the 3 currently available. If you think you might be a decor completionist, it's worth starting these in your downtime. So giving you something to work towards as well for player housing. Trust me, I'm a professional. We're not going to bury the lead here. Decor will be crafted by all existing non-gathering professions. Instead of creating a new profession solely dedicated to it, each profession will be able to craft a few pieces of appropriate decor from each expansion, so even be older ones, using that expansion's version of the profession. Example, to craft something from Mists of Pandaria, you'll need the relevant Mists of Pandaria professions at the appropriate level. This is very similar to, I think, to how they enabled recrafting of tier 6 transmogs when they implemented that, on top of the black market auction house. But it's obviously with new rewards and with a new system. So if you're a professional player, this is definitely another thing to look forward to. To craft something, players will need not only the required recipe and skill level, but they will also need to gather a new type of decor crafting specific reagent per expansion, as well as any required reagents from that expansion. So fusing the old and the present, the past and the present. In general, like most professions made goods, crafted decor can be traded to other players or sold at the auction house. You're also able to make some bank doing this. Some examples of what some professions will be able to make: blacksmithing can create things out of metal, enchanting can create flying objects, jewel crafting can create decor with gems and gem-studded objects, and designed at the stoneworking profession. 2 of the points above, do note that this is all work in progress. Maybe this will change as time goes on. 2 of the points above should be, they need to introduce a lumber profession tree where you cut down trees and then they, carpentry, that's we need a new profession right there. 2 of the point, old school RuneScape, cutting down trees there we go. 2 of the points above should be underscored. Your professions and their levels from past expansions matter, and so do some of the reagents from those expansions, just in case you're looking for something else to do. So you could farm some of those. Interesting that they're saying, like, go farm these old things, but then none of this is set in stone. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to get debated or not. Some light housekeeping. We want to mention a smattering of related but smaller things as well before we wrap things up. Decorations are only placeable if you have enough of them based on how many you've collected. If you want to place 4 chairs, you'll need to collect 4 chairs. That's okay, so you can't put the same chair 4 times. Furthermore, collected decorations are shared across your entire Battle.net account. So anything you collect on any of the characters on any of your games account is shared across all of them. If you have 4 fountains and you place 3 of them on the lawn of your Alliance house, your Horde house will only have 1 available to place. I'm trying to understand what the point of that is. Why do you want to limit my ability to make more houses and decorate different houses? Like, what is it? Why would you want to limit that and create scarcity there, other than just, I guess, so that the profession systems can continue to interact, because you constantly need to buy another chair, another whatever, another new thing. I guess that's the only thing that could make sense to me, because otherwise it's just like, that just seems like downside only. On the flip side, there's a concept of unique decor that you can only place once. No matter how many copies of it you may have, it doesn't make sense. For example, to place 9 copies of Anixia's head on your wall, despite how many times you may have killed her. I mean, fair, although it could be funny if you couldn't. You'll note a mention of housing-specific activities earlier. That might be better worded as neighborhood-specific activities. We got the Homeowners Association of Azeroth. Okay. We're committed to ongoing release of new decorations, going both backwards into previous expansions as well as forward into new ones. What do you want to see? I want to see gladiator helmets. Okay, I want to be able to put little helmets from all the previous gladiator achievements, or at least the pennants, the things that we get for toys we put on our back, be able to place them as flags or something, on like little trophy, some type of trophy thing related to PvP. I get it. You can't say PvP in this article because people are going to get mad if you say the word PvP. And hopefully you can just slip it in as like a feats of strength that's separate from the completionist system, similar to the achievements, so that we can at least get something. Because I feel like otherwise, as a PvP main player, like, unless you just really like Sims and want to build a house, it's like you're not going to be able to get like an opportunity to show off what you've been able to do in the game, which I feel like this is like, that's the main selling point of this, is that it's just like, here's your trophy collection. You can put the things that you're most proud of from the game in it, and if they don't include anything from PvP, then obviously I think it's going to be pretty disappointing. But otherwise, it seems like they are fleshing the system out a lot, including the old world, the current game, also the neighborhoods, and making sure that there's like a reason to come back, I think is going to be a big deal with this, because otherwise you've seen in the world, right, a lot of the zones are empty because there's no reason to go back to that zone at a certain point, and then it ends up being vacant. Same thing could happen to housing. Same thing could already happen to our garrisons. So this is something that they're going to have to actively combat. But I think it's a nice step forward as we are getting closer and closer to midnight, and they're going to have to start to solidify and lock all of this stuff in. But that's pretty much it for the news and topics that I wanted to discuss in today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.